I'm
Cool.
delighted to be joined by Andrew Tu of Efrontier. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Nisa, thanks for having me.
Great to have you. Tell us about Efrontier.
Yeah, so we're a cryptocurrency algorithmic trading firm, and we're a liquidity provider as well. So we come from the traditional markets. Our parent company is called Tradomatics. They're an HFT firm based in Tel Aviv. Um, we do around 5 to 10% of the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange options volume, and we trade on a number of venues across the world. Around 3 years ago, we got into crypto, first starting just doing prop, and then we added a market maker division later.
So, and you've been actively involved in DeFi. What are you seeing in the decentralized exchanges right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an insane growth, right? I think everyone is kind of all eyes on DeFi right now. That's been probably one of the biggest growth drivers of the year so far. I mean, if we look at uh, the volumes at the beginning of the year versus now, it's probably like a 4 to 8x growth. So, huge growth and also insane speculation, right? And we just mentioned before this chat, we were talking about YAM, and YAM is this insane phenomena of something that's unaudited, not tested, and just put out by some DeFi folks, right? And they're good folks, but at the same time, it's something completely unaudited. And we have 300. Last I checked, it was 300. Maybe it's risen to like more than $300 million in total lock value. So it's huge growth, but also huge speculation. So, huge risks and huge rewards.
Right. And which DEXs are gaining traction?
Yeah, right now it's pretty much these pool style DEXs. So the big three are Uniswap, Curve, and Balancer. And they're very different than our traditional sort of central limit order book type exchanges that we're used to from the centralized world, right? They're not like the Binances or the OKXs of the world. They don't have an order book. They just have pools or multiple pools. Um, and you pretty much just, if you're a liquidity provider in this situation, you just deposit some capital and you let the sort of function work. And it's pretty much all based on this single function that they have. And the reason why they've attracted so much growth, especially over the course of this year, is what we're seeing right now, which is driving all this craze, which is the liquidity mining and the yield farming, right? We're seeing this insane yield that you can get from just depositing some USDC into a pool, and all of a sudden you're making double digit, sometimes even with like Wi-Fi, triple digit yields for certain weeks. So that's been a huge growth driver for the DEX space.
And what are you seeing in terms of like the points of interest on the futures options market?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because if you're comparing futures and options versus DEXs, right? Futures and options for Bitcoin specifically were pretty much dead, at least from a volumes perspective, from May until late July. And then all of a sudden they exploded with the Bitcoin price, right? So at the time, I think a lot of, especially retail, but also professional traders were really looking primarily at DeFi during sort of the dead months of Bitcoin price when, the vol was pretty much, gone. And then the vol came back and the derivatives volume it hit all-time highs straight away after that. I think another big thing, a big change has been the growth in the CME though. The growth the growth of the regulated exchanges, right? Before, a lot of the open interest, a lot of the volume was really concentrated in these sort of semi-regulated or unregulated exchanges like Binance or OKX or these sort of exchanges. I think now though we're seeing more and more, you can call it institutional or professional interest from a lot of times the more traditional firms entering the space. And that is reflected by the growth in especially the CME open interest, which I think is something like 4x of what it was this time last year.
So are you bold enough to make any predictions?
No specific predictions. I think though, if we're looking at the general macro landscape, I think my gut is telling me, look, on the speculative side, everyone's starting to speculate. And the thing is, we really are only having crypto native people speculate right now. I think it's really not really not retail jumping on board yet. Like if you look at Google Trends and look at Google Trends for Bitcoin, right, compared to 2017, it's still, fractions of what, the search results are, right? So the number of searches are. So I think really retail hasn't truly entered the space yet. So on the speculative side, I think we're really just in the beginning.
Well, great. Let's watch this space closely. We definitely have to account for the risks involved and regulation and make sure that everybody's safe out there. So thanks so much for joining us, Andrew.